Hi everyone, this is Todd Heitner from realturf.com, and first of all I want to thank you for joining this webinar. You might want to get rid of any distractions you might have, close the door, put the pets out, things like that. You might want to grab a pen and paper to take a few notes, because I'm going to cover some really good information here that I think you're really going to benefit from and hopefully be able to start applying immediately. So this webinar is on the topic of blogging for real estate investors. And in this webinar, we're going to be covering everything from the basics to exactly how to do it. We're going to talk about why you should be blogging, and really what blogging is and what kind of stuff to blog about. We're going to talk about who should be blogging. We're going to talk about how often you should be blogging, where you can get a blog, and then exactly how to do it. I'm going to walk through some examples and show you live how to make blog posts. So sit back and enjoy this, and let's get started. So first of all, let's get into why should a real estate investor be interested in blogging? It's a good question. We need to know why. Why does this matter? Well, there's a number of reasons for investors to blog. One of them is it keeps people coming back to your website. Now that's always a good thing. You want people to keep coming back to your website because that keeps them interested in you. It keeps you at the top of their mind as the solution to their problems. It's just always a good thing because you want people to think of you first. So anyway, that's the first point. Another reason is it allows people to interact with you, and that can let you find out what people really want. And what I mean by interacting is you can post things on your website, and then people coming to your website can actually reply. They can leave comments on your blog. That gives you a way to interact with them, and that's essentially what Web 2.0 is. It's interaction in websites, and so that's one of the great things about a blog. People can post comments. You can find out what people want to know more about. See what the response is. See if they like what you're posting, and things like that. So that's one of the great benefits. Another reason to blog is that it educates your prospects. It can be a way for you to kind of fill them in on what you do, how the process works, things like that. Give them extra information, and that'll make your life easier if they know a little bit more about the process. And now I'm being a little bit general here because everybody's doing something a little bit different. But let's just say, for instance, that you were doing lease options, and so you were selling homes on a rent-to-own basis. Well, a lot of people aren't familiar with that concept, so it might be necessary to educate them a little bit on what that entails. How does a rent-to-own work? If you do rent credits, how do rent credits work? How do they end up actually owning this property? What do they have to do that? And maybe repairing their credit, and you might give them tips about how to repair their credit. Of course, making their payments on time, things like that. So, and that's just one example of how you might educate people and kind of fill them in on things, and that really provides value to them because you're helping them. You're giving them information that other people aren't giving them. You're not keeping them in the dark about it, but they know exactly what's going to happen, and and that's something that they're going to appreciate, and they're going to look to you as a provider of solutions to their problems. Another great reason to blog, and this is very powerful, is it can provide you an extra income source. One way that it can do that is you can recommend products and services to people as an affiliate. Now, some examples of this. Let's say you are targeting wholesale buyers. A wholesale buyer essentially is another real estate investor. So what would real estate investors be interested in? Well, a lot of times information products about how to do real estate investing in different um, different areas, different types of investing. So one thing you might do on your blog is do reviews of new products. Um, and so, um, you know, most of these products have affiliate programs, so you can tell people about it and put a link to your affiliate link. Um, Other ways you can make money from your blog is by having ads on your site. You can put things like Google AdSense, um, and other, custom affiliate links on your site. And it could be that you're just providing information on your site, but you have ads along the side. Or it could be, the whole blog post could be an advertisement essentially, in the form of maybe a review or something like that. So that's a great way to use your blog. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this is if you're promoting something as an affiliate, let's say you're doing a review of a product, there's new laws now from the FTC that require that you disclose somewhere that you're an affiliate for that product. In other words, that you're going to make a commission if they buy through you. And the reason for that is essentially because there were a lot of people posting things on blogs, reviews and things like that, and they weren't genuine reviews, but people thought they were. So it can really sometimes it looks like a genuine review from somebody, but essentially it's just an advertisement, for their affiliate link. So to be fair, it is, people should know usually that you're promoting something as an affiliate, because that does kind of affect how you view their recommendation. If it's just a friend saying, hey, you should try this, I use this and it's great, that's one thing. But when you know that friend is going to make money off of it, well, you kind of look at it a little bit differently. You're like, well, okay, is this an honest recommendation? Do they really believe in this, or is it just because they're going to get paid for it? So, that's why that's there. But anyway, so you just need to disclose that somewhere. Some people put it on certain area of their site, a blog that just has some disclaimers, or some put it after each recommendation just to let people know. So just something to be aware of. But that's an excellent way to use your blog to make money. Okay, another point is you can actually turn this into a product. Let me explain a little bit. First of all, it's no secret that a lot of real estate investors often end up turning into authors. They start out investing in real estate and have a measure of success with it, kind of develop their own system based on maybe bits and pieces of different courses they've read, kind of develop their own system that works well for them, and then they realize, hey, there's money that can be made by selling information products, and so they write their own book and make money. Well, if you've ever thought about doing that, and but the idea of writing a book is a little bit overwhelming, and to most it is at first, well, a blog gives you a way to break that up into little bite-sized pieces, you might say, writing a little bit at a time. And let's say you just commit yourself to writing every day or every week or something, write a little bit, and after a period of time you have a lot of content there. Just break it up into little articles about one specific topic or one little bit of information, and in the long run you're going to end up with a lot of stuff, and then you can kind of compile that into a book. People have actually written books that way. They just post on their blog on a regular basis, and then after a period of time they compile it all in book format, and they've got a book. So if you've ever thought about that and felt a little bit overwhelmed, well, a blog can be a great way to do that. And in the meantime, you're posting great content for people to read, and that's going to get you kind of a following. People can realize that you're an expert on this subject, and can will keep coming back and reading more. Another reason for an investor to blog is that search engines like blogs. Now, some of the things we've talked about already is how some reasons that people like blogs, because there's valuable content there, or at least there can be. But search engines also like blogs, and for the same reason, because they tend to have good content. they don't just, it's not that they just necessarily like blogs in general, but they like blogs because um, for a couple of reasons. For one, people tend to update them on a regular basis. Um, and that's especially when they like them, is when they keep coming back and seeing, hey, every time we come back, there's something new here. Somebody's posting something on a regular basis. It's kind of like the news, they there's always fresh content, and that's what people like. So, things that are updated frequently. So they like it because of that. And the way blogs are set up, it tends to be organized in a way that there's keywords built into the post title and things like that. And it just there's a lot of different reasons for it. But essentially the point is search engines like blogs, and they tend to give them a lot of favor. So a lot of times it's a good way to get the attention of search engines like Google and Yahoo and MSN and all those. So that's a great reason to blog. Another reason to blog is, this is kind of maybe an unconventional way of using a blog, but you can actually use it to sell your properties. You can post pretty much anything on a blog. I mean, it's people tend to think of it as kind of have a small view, I suppose, of what's possible with blogging, but you can use it for just about anything. And one way you can use it is to sell properties. You can actually use it as a property listing tool. And what you can do then is use the title of your post as a way to describe the property, kind of an overview. It could be, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in such and such area, or you could put the address of the house, depending on how you want to do that. And then in the blog post, you can put pictures, you can put a description, you can put how to contact you, anything you would normally put on a property listing. And the great thing about this is, on a blog, if it's set up right, it's search engines are going to like it, so people might find it that way if they're searching for a house in your area. Plus, it'll show up on your site, so people that are coming to your website will see it there. Another thing, kind of a side benefit, I have the Real Turf service. Basically it's a way for real estate investors to get a website with a blog and all that. And when people post things on their site, it actually shows up on our main site of realturf.com. So by posting things like properties, there's a chance that someone might come to our main site and see it. So and there's other and that's not there's other ways people might find it too. There's blog directories, and a lot of times there will be they kind of show blogs that have been updated recently and things like that. So that's just another way that you might get some additional exposure like that. But anyway, posting properties is a great way to use your blog. And it also establishes credibility. By you posting things on a regular basis, it shows that you're active. You're not just somebody that thought they were going to get into real estate investing and never did anything with it, or anything like that, but it shows that you're actually out there doing things, because you can post about what you're doing and things like that. We'll get into more about what to post later, but it just shows that you're doing things. If they can see that you've posted something on a regular basis over a period of time, it just shows people that you're really out there doing it. And also, by posting information that educates people, it shows that you're knowledgeable about the subject. Now here's something interesting. By posting these things, you essentially are an author. You're the author of these blog posts. And an author is someone people look to as an authority on the subject. Now, the truth is anybody can write anything, but they look to you, people look to authors as an expert on the subject. And by posting these things, you are establishing yourself as an authority or an author. So that can kind of change the way people look at you, and they view you as an expert. So just some great reasons to blog. So let's talk about briefly what exactly is a blog and what should I write. Well, A blog is, stands for web log, WEB, like, web and log. It's kind of a combination of those two words. And, the word log in this sense is kind of like a diary or journal, where you post things on a regular basis, and everything is kind of categorized by date. And essentially, a blog is just a website that you can easily go in and change yourself. You can post things on a regular basis, and each time you make an entry, it shows up on your site right away and is sorted by date and everything like that. So that's essentially what a blog is. But they're really a lot more than that. I mean, there's so much you can do with a blog that we're going to get into. So let's talk a little bit about what to put on your blog, what to post. Well, you could do this is somewhat of a traditional use of a blog. Use it as somewhat of an online diary or journal of what you're doing, and it could be each day, each week, whatever. And people kind of like to see that kind of stuff. They like to read what you're doing. They kind of people kind of like to peer into other people's lives and see what they're doing. It's kind of like reality TV. A lot of times on these shows, people are just doing whatever they normally do each day. It may not even necessarily be anything that exciting, but people like to see what other people are doing. But they also like seeing people that are doing more than they're doing. Seeing actually going out and doing things, and kind of seeing behind the curtain a little bit about how these kind of things work. And so some people will actually just post on a regular basis what they're doing each day. I'm going to go out and look at these deals. I'm going to go look at these houses. Maybe even post pictures of houses you're looking at and things like that. Post details about deals you're working on, things like that. So that's just one idea of how you can use that. And another way you can use your blog, another thing that you could post is articles. And we kind of touched on this, but articles that educate people. And it could be on a variety of different topics. And like I said, you could actually, after a while, kind of compile all these articles into a book format if you really wanted to. But that's, of course not required, but that's something you could do with that, sort of using that same content for more than one purpose. Another thing you can post, as we talked about a little bit, is reviews of products. And we kind of talked about the reasons for that already. So, it's a way to make commission for affiliate products. You can post videos on your site. Now, you can use this a lot of different ways. A lot of the same content that you might post in other, some of these other things we've talked about, like a diary, a journal, or what you've been working on. You could actually have a video of you going out and doing these things, or talk about them. Have a camera and talk about what you're doing right now. Okay, here's this property I'm looking at. Things like that. You could do the same thing with articles. You could educate people in video format. You could just have the camera in front of you and just talk about what you're doing. Just talk about that same information. Explain a certain topic to people, and that's great because that establishes a connection with them. Videos are great because you can see a person face to face, and kind of really you feel like you get to know them a little bit better. So that's a great way to use your blog, by posting videos. And what's really ideal, is to really to post different types of content, in a variety of formats. You might do some articles, some videos, maybe even some audios. So just some different ideas there. But if you don't feel comfortable doing all that, you might just feel more comfortable doing just one particular thing. Maybe you feel comfortable writing. Maybe you feel more comfortable just talking on video. So there's something for everybody, and there's a way to use your blog, a variety of ways to use it. Another, what we talked about already, what to post, property listings. As we talked about, you can post your properties, and that's a great way to get exposure for them and show people your properties. Now, there are, websites and dedicated tools for listing properties, but you don't necessarily need that to list properties. If you have a blog, you can list properties just that way. You can put success stories up there and testimonials from clients and people that you've done deals with. I mean, it could be buyers, it could be sellers, whatever. Um, I mean, just for instance, let's say you help somebody get into a house. Well, they are probably really excited about that, and they would probably be glad to give you a testimonial. It could be, just in a written format, and you just put their words. It could be a video. You could take get a small video camera and record a video testimonial of their success story. It could be an audio format. There's a lot of different ways you could do that. So, but that's great because that's on your website, and other people can come to your site and see that, hey, they're helping people just like me, and that gives them confidence in you that you're really out. You really are helping people, and that you can help them as well. And kind of in a similar line, you can put post deals you've done and just kind of put the details. Now that's especially beneficial if you are thinking of maybe writing a book or coaching other people. That's great because that's showing that you're out there doing it, and it also kind of educates people a little bit about how you're doing it. Now maybe you wouldn't want to give all the full details here, but kind of an overview at least of deals you're doing, and how much money you made off of it, and a little bit about how you did it. And that people love to see that, really the inner workings of your business. And finally, just whatever you're doing and whatever you know about, so that's going to be different for everybody, but whatever kind of deals you're working on, or whatever you're trying to do in your business. And you could start out, I mean, even if you're just starting out in real estate investing, you could just write a journal of what you're doing each day, what action steps you're taking, what you're reading, and things like that. And just imagine in time, after you start getting some deals, start making some money, how great that's going to be to be able to go back and look at from the beginning, how things progressed and where you're at now. And other people are going to like to see that too. I mean, wouldn't that be cool to go to a site and you can go back and see from day one where they started, and before they even got their first deal, what they were doing and what they did each day and what led them to their first deal, and the things that they were thinking about, and and then as things progress, all the things as things start coming together, how it progresses. I mean, that's great, and that would make a great book right there. Just how from from brand new to established investor, how, just like a journal of what you did. I mean, people would love to read something like that. So just another idea for things you could post. Here's a thought you might not have, or a question you might not have thought about, and that is, who should do the writing? So who should write your blog posts? Well, the first and most obvious answer is you, right? And in most cases, that's who it would be. But I just want to give you a few other ideas, just some things to think about. Because let's say maybe you just don't feel comfortable writing or posting some of this content, or don't have time for it. Now, if you're just starting out, or even if you're not just starting out, a lot of times you're going to want to do it yourself. But especially if you're just starting out, you don't, may not have a lot of other choices. But just some other ideas. Anybody else that works with you, let's say you have partners and things like that, or maybe even have an office with some people in it. So it could be people that work for you or with you. Maybe you're not the best at writing or coming up with content. Well, you could get somebody else that you work with or who works for you to do it. It could be a virtual assistant. There's a lot of people are using virtual assistants now, and you can find them online. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this is if you're using a virtual assistant that's in a foreign country that doesn't speak your language very well, that doesn't speak English well, they may not be the best to use for writing, because it's their English may not be the best. It may be choppy and all that. So, but a lot of people have virtual assistants, in the U.S. and others who are native English speakers and can post things for you. And you may tell them kind of what to post and give them an outline of what kind of stuff to post on a regular basis. And that can be interesting to see. I mean, people can it could be any of the things we talked about. It could be properties or articles or whatever, and just have them do it for you. And you could actually hire a writer. I mean, you can find writers online at a lot of the outsourcing websites like guru.com, elance.com, and some of these other ones where you can find people to outsource things to. You could actually hire a writer that writes things, and they can write them in your name, so that essentially they're what's called a ghost writer. They're doing the writing, but your name is going on it. And a lot of books are written that way. Most people don't know that, but a lot of books are not written by the person whose name is on the cover. And that can be the same for blog posts. You can hire someone to do the writing for you, and maybe, a case where you might want to do that would be if you are posting content type things, articles and things like that. So, you can hire and you can get people that actually know about the topic of whatever it is, such as real estate investing techniques and things like that. You can actually get people that know about it, or you can tell them kind of what to write and they can write it. So that's just another idea of who can do the writing for you. Now here's a great question that a lot of people wonder: how often should I post things on my blog? Well, one option is daily. And like what I talked about, if you're kind of keeping a journal or diary of what you're doing each day, that's a great thing to do. Just make it a part of your day every day. Just, when you get up, or maybe at lunch or at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, it might be nice, as long as you're not too tired and everything, to write about your day and what you did that day, what you accomplished, maybe even what you were thinking, things like that, deals you did. You might just choose to do it weekly, just once a week. You have maybe a certain day of the week where you post things. Just kind of a review of the week, or maybe, any of the things we talked about that you can post, like articles. You could do, either format, daily, weekly, or even monthly. Maybe just once a month. It's sort of kind of like a newsletter, about what's going on with you or your business, what you accomplished this month, what you're going to be doing next month, something along those lines. Or just whenever you have something to say. Maybe you don't want to have a specific time set aside to do it. Now, I kind of recommend having a time to do it. That way you kind of stay regular with it, and that's good because it keeps the search engines coming back, and keeps people coming back because they know on a regular basis there's going to be something new. But what works for a lot of people is just whenever you feel like it, whenever you have something to say. Maybe it is just when you get a deal done, or something significant happens, or you just think of something that you want to share with people. You just go in and post it. So that's whatever works best for you, really, is the answer. But I do recommend posting on a regular basis, fairly regular. Don't let too much time go by between posts, because then people kind of lose interest. The search engines kind of stop coming back because they think, oh, nothing's ever going to, think nothing's changing here. So it is good to, post fairly regularly if you possibly can. And you get some of those benefits from that. And with the example I talked about of, maybe using your blog as a way to write a book, or some other type of product, it's especially good that you do get strict with yourself and have certain times that you write. Make sure every day I'm going to write, or every, once a week I'm going to write this amount, and get that done. Now, one thing that's really cool about certain blogging platforms, particularly WordPress. WordPress is one of the big, really probably the biggest blogging platform out there, and it's so flexible and a really powerful system. It's the one that I use most. One thing that's really cool about it is, let's say you feel like sitting down and writing right now, and you want to write several blog posts, several articles, or whatever, and don't want to have to worry about doing it, let's say every week. Well, you can go in and actually put a future date on that post, and it won't show up on your site until that date. So that's really cool, because you can actually go in and put like a month's worth of blog posts, or a couple months or whatever, go in and do all your writing at once when you feel like it, and put future dates on them, maybe like a week apart or whatever, and on that date, it's going to show up on your website. It won't be there until that date. And so that's really cool. That makes it, it gives you a way to get all your writing done when you're in the mood to do it, but at the same time have stuff posted on a regular basis. So just a cool little tip there. Now, on to a very important point. Where can you get a blog? Well, there's a lot of different sites, really, where you can get one, but one of them that's really good is blogger.com. Blogger.com is a free service, and Google actually bought them. So it's kind of nice in some ways. It's kind of meant to be a setup where you don't really need to know a lot of technical stuff, and you can get a blog. Well, a lot of them are that way, really. That's kind of the point of a blog. You don't need to know a lot of technical stuff. But it's pretty good, and you can choose to have your blog listed in Google's blog directory and things like that, or their blog search, and people can find your content that way, which is pretty nice. Also, there's WordPress.com. It's also a free service. Now, you've probably heard of WordPress, and I've talked about it before, but there's a couple different versions of WordPress. There's the WordPress.com, which is kind of their service. You go to WordPress.com, sign up for an account, and get a blog there. But then there's another version of WordPress that can be like you're on your own site. It's not on WordPress.com, but it uses the WordPress platform. And that's what I use the most, not the WordPress.com, but the WordPress platform, because then you have a lot more flexibility with what you can do with it. But those are a couple sites where you can sign up and get a blog for free, which is nice. And then, of course, there's our service, realturf.com. And this is specifically designed for real estate investors. It has, you get not only the blogging features, which is built on the WordPress platform, but you also get pre-built lead capture pages and other tools that are specifically designed for real estate investors. So that's where you can get that. And it's up to you. I'm giving you these free resources, but I'm also, of course, telling you about our service at realturf.com and some of the advantages of that. And if you want to sign up for that, you just go to realturf.com/join. That's realturf.com. That's realturf.com/join, JOIN. Okay, let's move on to the next point. How do I post things on my blog? And this is pretty cool. I'm actually going to show you how to post things on your blog. I'm going to walk you through live as I make some changes as I make a blog post. So I'm going to open up my web browser and go through this. Now, I'm going to be using this. I'm going to be using the RealTurf service, but keep in mind this is on the WordPress platform. So any WordPress website you have, the use is going to be basically the same steps. Maybe not identical, but pretty close. So just keep that in mind. But I'm just going to walk you through, so you can see exactly what is involved with posting something on a blog.